It affects blood flow to various parts of the body, causing some undesirable outcomes, such as, when you get gender-affirming surgery and other places. And then, it's a carcinogen, it affects cancer risks, also can cause blood clots.
And this is a slide showing both the numbers for the state of California and the numbers for the rest of the country, minus California, in terms of the gradual decline and the current status of smoking rates. Current at this point, latest numbers we have are 2018. And you can see the numbers are significantly lower in California than the rest of the country. 9.7% is where we are. If you look at the next slide, you'll see that when we're looking at what are called priority populations in the tobacco control world, that there are some significantly different numbers from that. In particular, for our project, looking at lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender population at 18% in 2018, almost twice as much as the general population. Also take note of people with mental health challenges at 30% and some of these other numbers. Next.
Yeah, and much like LGBTQ adults, we also see that LGBTQ youth in California are being left behind, still using tobacco at significantly higher rates than their non-LGBTQ peers. So if you take a look at this slide, you can see basically the tobacco use rates for various LGBTQ youth communities, ranging from 16% to 34%. And just for reference to the numbers you see on this slide, the general tobacco use youth rate in California is at 12%.
Yeah, and so these numbers don't just come out of nowhere, right? I don't wake up and go, oh boy, I'm trans, I'm gonna, grab a cigarette. No, right? These arise as results of negative experiences often. So here we have lists of LGBTQ specific experiences, discrimination on the basis of gender or sexual orientation that are correlated with higher tobacco use. So discrimination in housing and education, et cetera. And it's not just adults that this affects, it's also youth who are rejected by their families or who experience victimization and harassment like bullying in school.
And speaking of youth, here we have some numbers from LGBTQ numbers related to the compared to the general population from the Vallejo City Unified. You can see on the left here, we're looking at much, much higher numbers related to what Maya was just talking about, of chronic sadness, hopelessness in the last 12 months, 75% of LGB Vallejo students versus 40% of non-LGB. Moving over to the right, you look at those bar charts and you can see that broadly speaking, we have much higher rates of tobacco use, especially if you looking at the e-cigarette line among the LGB population versus the rest of the population of youth in those grades that are being recorded. And then moving back over to the left again, you look at that bolded section, 36%. Vallejo City Unified Juniors say it's very easy or fairly easy to obtain cigarettes. 56% say the same for e-cigarettes. And so you put all that together and clearly there's a problem.
Ryan, hold on, can you go back?
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you please email me this slide? Or just email it to Tom and he can email it to me. Just real quick, how did you acquire the percentages?
Yeah, sure. So this is from a thing called the California Healthy Kids Survey that the state of California sends out, I think every school year, but some districts don't do it every year. Yeah. And we can definitely get this to you. There's a special dashboard. I know usually they don't release the information disaggregated like this, but you can go on their website and you can split it up by, demographic, race, and in this case, LGBT status. Yeah.
Thank you.
So one question I have on it. So I noticed you have LGBT or LGB.
Yes.
So was there no T and Q involved in that, or did the
Yeah, no, that was my question when I first saw it too. What happens is that they do ask on gender identity. So, are you trans or not? But most of the time, the trans students end up getting suppressed because if there are less than, I think it's like 10 or 100 trans respondents, then they have to suppress the data for privacy.
Okay.
But that's why we included the statewide data because it gives kind of a picture. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Hearing none, moving on.
And will you send us this entire deck and we can share it to our members?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. Sweet. Great. So, and one big reason, one of many reasons why tobacco products are so accessible to our youth, to our community more broadly, is decades of targeted marketing by the tobacco industry. So, pivoting into advertising here, we can see our first example of targeted advertising by a company called Blue Cigs. So we see, an ad on the screen with an image of a drag queen smoking an electronic cigarette with the language. It reads, "Remember to be yourself. Everyone else is taken." So this language, this image, this ad is a clear example of how the tobacco industry understands the unique vulnerabilities of our community, our desire to be accepted as who we really are, and how they use this basically against us to trick us into buying their products.
So that was a new ad. This is an old ad, but it gives you another perspective here. We call them targeted advertising. So which one of these do we think appeared in a gay male magazine? Any guesses? One on the left, one on the right?
One on the left, right?
The one on the left, right? The one with the extra man in it. And so with this sort of the point of this is to just say that how the tobacco companies, when you say to them, oh, you're targeting particular populations, try to get them addicted. And they say, oh, no, we just use the same ads for everybody, right? Well, this puts the lie to that.
I mean, it's Parliament cigarettes. That sounds so, what is that, 1970s?
90.
This ad is, yeah, I'm not sure exactly when it was from. Probably the 90s would be my guess.
Yeah, the slide notes say 95.
95, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
So,
yeah, there it is.
Through the chair, just a quick comment. I didn't even notice the one on the left had 3 men. Sorry.
Two men.
Well, it's actually a woman in the water, right?
Right.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell. So thank you for pointing it out both ways.
There's
So,
a whole
Okay.
story going on here.
It's
Oh, yeah.
true. No time for the narrative, though. Moving on.
But I think the gay is the one sitting on the post, right? Looking at the husband.
All right.
Okay, moving on. So something else that the tobacco industry will do is take people who have social connections and social capital within queer communities and use them to sell their deadly product. So this is a story of the e-cigarette company Enjoy, whose Pride kind of rainbow hand ad is here at the right. And what they did was take someone who had worked on providing housing to homeless queer youth, and instead they made him sell e-cigarettes as global head of social commerce.
Another thing they do is also co-opt our community spaces. So here we can see 2 examples of targeted sponsorship and giveaways over the years. So on the left, we have a still from a video that was captured of a smoking lounge that was sponsored by Lucky Strike at the GLAAD Awards in the 90s. So at this event, they basically hosted an indoor smoking lounge where they had folks dressed up in Keith Haring costumes, giving out free tobacco products, as you can see pictured on the left, holding a complimentary platter of cigarettes and other tobacco products. And the bottom text in that left image there, it's pretty small, but it reads, "Whenever someone yells, 'Dude, that's so gay,' we'll be there." So again, we see the tobacco industry taking advantage of the ways in which they know that we're vulnerable to try and make us feel like they're on our side, they're fighting with us. And on the right, we see, 4 shirtless, what some might consider attractive men at an LGBTQ event, holding tobacco vape products and tablets to collect people's information. So even though these images are, decades apart, they're both so really relevant examples of how the industry has been breaking into our community events and spaces to promote their products over the years. And another way that they target us is by throwing money at our community groups. So here we can see a fairly recent example of this. Just last September, smoke shops backed by Altria approached Orange County Trans Latinas, which is an organization serving Latina trans women, and basically offered them money in exchange for their help gathering signatures to try and undo a recent California flavored tobacco law. So thankfully, OC Trans Latinas refused. They warned other community groups, and they all collectively, agreed not to take tobacco's money. But again, just another example of how the industry is exploiting our community this current moment when they know a lot of our groups and nonprofits are struggling financially.
And here I have a few more examples of ads that have been targeted at queer community populations over the years. You can see two women kissing on the left. You can see a little rainbow in the middle one on the right, and it says, take pride in your flavor. And then the one that really gets me is the far one on the right, where it says freedom to speak, to choose, to marry, to participate, to be, to disagree, to inhale, to believe, to love, to live. It's all good. And this ran in the Advocate in June of 2005. Definitely wanting to tell us a couple of things here, telling us that we should be equating the so-called freedom to smoke with other freedoms that we're struggling for. And also saying, similar to what Genesis said a couple slides earlier, we're on your side, we support you, but is that really the case? Let's look at this next slide to find out. So this one is called How They Get Us to Screw Ourselves, and not in a fun way. If you look up at the top, we're looking at our attempt to get equal rights and justice. And then moving on the arrow to the right, we see their ads that they're running in magazines, online, and we'd say, oh, they're supporting us. Okay, we buy their product. And where does that money go? Moving around with the arrows, there's a big check there in the bottom left, being held by tobacco, well, being given by tobacco industry to right-wing elected officials who do things like write laws and try to stop laws that are to keep us from our freedoms and our equality. And we're right back where we started again at the top. So when members of our community are duped by tobacco to get addicted to tobacco products and to use these products, we're not only hurting ourselves physically, we're not only hurting people around us with secondhand exposure, but we're also hurting our community as a whole in our struggle for equal justice and equality.
Yeah, so what does the tobacco industry really think of us? Well, if you look,
sorry,
you wanna...
if I could, that slide right there,
yep.
If you took out the LGBT piece of it, we could use that at the convention for the Democratic Party, because remember they had Jewel and someone else that were sponsors of our convention. And that's exactly, I mean, it's not just LGBT, it's all Democrats, it's all, you know,
very true.
Any minority group that's doing that. And I think that's where we need to make sure that our leadership in the Democratic Party understands that, okay, so if you have them come and give us money and put the ads on, they're targeting us to get our money to go to the Republican Party. So maybe that's where we need to ask them, why do you want us to support the Republican Party, Democratic leadership?
Yeah, and they've given, of course, the tobacco companies give money to the Democrats too, but they give much, much larger amounts to Republicans. Yeah, and it is much broader than just our community, no question about it.
Just having sat through ADEMS and the disaster that was the results rollout, maybe they want us to switch. I mean, goodness. Yeah. Alrighty, are we good for comments?
Yeah, thank you very much for entertaining my comments. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, so, you know, what does the tobacco industry really think of us? Well, this is some internal industry documents that we weren't supposed to see, where, you know, if you can read, they're calling us Project Scum. So they're saying that we're scum, and they're specifically targeting people with an alternative lifestyle, meaning gay people in the Castro, as well as street people, meaning homeless people in the Tenderloin in San Francisco. So they say, oh, you know, this is just, you know, subculture urban marketing is what scum stood for. But no, we can read, we can tell that they're calling us scum. What they want is a profit, not our health.
And we've been talking a lot about how the tobacco company is targeting us. Well, here's an example of them targeting us and our fighting back and winning. And this also leads into what we're going to be talking about a little bit more in a minute. This is a project that I worked on in 2013, 2014 in San Jose, where we were aware that the tobacco industry was sending representatives into bars and giving out coupons like this, getting information, emails, phone numbers so they could send more coupons. And this one, as you can see, says 1 pack for $1. You could only use it at the bar that night. And they made 364 visits over a couple of years, and 26% of those were to one gay bar in San Jose. And so you can see how somebody might be vulnerable to someone like that, especially if they had a few drinks or if they wanted to meet somebody. or just wanted to be social, and so we know of at least one volunteer, actually a friend of a volunteer for our project, who got addicted to smoking from this effort. So we got involved. We got the LGBTQ plus community involved, and San Jose heard the message from us, and they did ban this practice. And the big tobacco left the bars. So a success in this case.
Here we can see a breakdown of the over $7.5 billion that the tobacco industry spends every year on things like the coupons Brian just mentioned to make smoking more financially accessible and harder to quit. So this includes, as you can see, over $6 billion on discounts to retailers, over $1 billion on discounts to wholesalers, and over $300 million on coupons. Even this number is likely an undercount because it leaves out things like cigars, smokeless products, and e-cigarettes because it's only accounting for combustible cigarettes.
So speaking of cigars, here we see some very, very cheap, very colorful flavored products that are aimed at youth, that are very, very accessible. You can see here we have 2 for 99 cents, 2 for 129. These Cigarillo products are used for a variety of different things. You can see that they're very accessible. 92.8% of stores in Solano County in 2016 sold these products. Of those stores, 76% sold them for under $1, and 69% of the stores near schools sold them. And we also know that LGBT people smoke cigarillos almost twice as much as straight people. And
and as often happens, with the LGBT data, right? Trans people have it worse. Yeah, I know. So in this case, trans people are 3 times as likely as cis people to be smoking these products. And so here on the right, you can see not only are they 2 for 99, they're also even 3 or 4 for 99 cents. And in some communities we've done this work, we've seen 6 for 99 cents. So they are definitely an affordable entryway into a lifetime of nicotine addiction. And then as we've been talking about flavors and how that's appealing, some of these have names that it's confusing whether they're actually flavors or they're just clever branding. We like to highlight Pink Diva because it sounds like it could be some cute queer marketing, like, haha, yeah, I'm a Pink Diva. Or it could be, some kind of like cotton candy bubblegum flavor, who knows?
And of course, we know that these inequities extend beyond sexuality and gender. They also touch race, class, age, income, and all of their intersections. So as you can see here, we also know that there are strategic tobacco price cuts for communities of color and lower income communities with more young people. So in California, tobacco products are cheapest in these communities, especially Black and Hispanic communities, even after things like the California $2 tobacco tax took effect. So this continued, affordability of products is intentional. Again, the tobacco industry wants to keep their products accessible to vulnerable communities.
And so thinking about where the communities that Genesis just mentioned live, here are 2 maps of Vallejo. The one on the left shows median income by census tract. So the lighter color is lower income, the darker color is higher income. And then on the right, every gray dot is the location of a tobacco retailer. So if you cross your eyes, you can see that it is in the areas that are lower income where there just are more tobacco retailers. Like Genesis said, the tobacco is cheaper there. So if you are growing up in these areas, going to school in these areas, then your idea of what is normal in terms of tobacco use is going to be very different than if you're growing up in a higher income area. And then just for dramatic effect, if I click, we can overlay them and you can really see like the low income census tracts really do have just a whole concentration of tobacco retailers. And so it's not only the case that youth are using these products, they're turning to them to cope, but they can go to stores in Vallejo and get these products. So this is data that comes from the Stake Enforcement Unit, which kind of as it feels like it goes around and does enforcement. So it's very inconsistent. But what we do know from the data that they've been able to give us is that Vallejo is very bad in terms of the percentage of stores that sell to youth when they go in and try and buy these products. So in 2018, for example, a whopping 45.5% of stores visited sold, and in 2020 it was an improvement at 30%. Just to put this in perspective, the federally mandated statewide target for tobacco sales is 20%, and the CDC target for healthy communities is 5%. And when we've done this work previously, it's been alarming to people that 11% of stores were selling. So Vallejo really has a problem in terms of youth tobacco access.
So let's talk possible policy options and possible solutions here. We're looking at one big one, which is minimum price. If you look at the chart on the left, these bars represent youth in grades 9 through 12. And you see that red line is going down and that green line is going up. The green line is the increasing price of tobacco products, and the red line is the decreasing smoking rate among these youth. And this is what we see across the board. Over 100 studies worldwide show that raising tobacco prices is an effective public health measure. And based on these kinds of studies, we know that a national 10% increase in cigarette price reduces smoking among young adults by 3.5% and among underage youth by 6 to 7%. So this is a really concrete, effective way to keep youth from getting addicted to tobacco products. And another possible option, and this is, I sort of see this one really as a loophole closer, right? So we're raising the price. It's not a tax increase, by the way, it's just raising the price. And then also making sure that these coupons can't be redeemed that would bring that price down again, because tobacco industries typically, you'll see them doing this, right? They say, oh, okay, we're going to send out more coupons in these areas where the prices have gone up so we can, continue to make these products accessible. And so we can see here also that this is an issue in our community, the queer community. LGBTQ people up to three times more likely to search for or be shown tobacco discounts in social media and streaming websites. So this is really about making quitting harder. And also we know from the CDC that about 70% of smokers want to quit smoking, and doing things like making the prices harder, it will make it more likely that people who want to quit will finally be able to succeed at that goal.
Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about, possible policies, but at the same time, we've also said, what the state has doesn't work, so what gives? So like I said, when the state makes rules and it kind of, doesn't really follow through on it, we see that it doesn't work. But when local jurisdictions do their own compliance work, great success. So a lot of cities and counties across the state have these policies, and they use law enforcement, but with the big asterisk there, in order to do compliance checks. So here's a picture from Pleasanton in Alameda County. But law enforcement is not the best enforcement agency everywhere. We know what happened over the summer. We know, especially as we're talking about this work in Vallejo, that law enforcement does not have the trust of the community there to do this work. Brings us into.
Yeah, here's just a couple of counties in the state that don't use law enforcement to enforce these kinds of laws. And so these kinds of models are out there, and we've talked with these people. Next.
So could we go back, Tom, through the chair? Quick question.
Sure.
Okay. Go back to the one where it talked about the enforcement. Okay. Sure. So no, I apologize. I don't see a number at the bottom. So move one forward, please. Okay. So when you have YOLO in Riverside County, right. So since the supervisors, we can only write laws for either the entire county, which sounds like this would be with the environmental health department. So if I went online, can I get this information from YOLO? Because I'm assuming that's where you would like to go at the end of this presentation?
Well, we can share this with you. I mean, as I think you may know, Supervisor Brown, we have been making some efforts to work in the county as a whole, the unincorporated, Part of the reason for that is because of our concerns about the Vallejo Police Department.
Oh,
And the hope being that if we were able to get a county policy that was enforced by the Solano County Environmental Health Department, that potentially could, with the fees from the tobacco retail license that would come from passing a policy in Vallejo, we would be able to pay somebody at the county level to be able to go in and do enforcement in Vallejo as well. That's the kind of thing that we've been looking at.
okay, because I definitely want to work with you on it. That's what I was checking since Yolo's close by. Definitely in favor of it, and kind of an FYI, worked with the Benicia, and in Benicia we got where if you have a multi-dwelling, in other words, 2 or greater, you cannot smoke indoors. That took us about a year and a half. So it's something that before COVID, we were hoping to go into Vallejo to work on. But I just want to just let you know, I am happy to bring this forward. So that's what I want to know, because I can contact Yolo, get some of this information and see where we can go from there. That's what intrigued me, because I agree with you. And we got the 3%ers. I'm sure you read that one in the sheriff's department.
Right.
You know about that, right?
Yeah, I think we don't have time to get into the detail of that right now, but you would love to meet with you individually.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We're fine.
Supervisor
That was
Brown,
my question.
and we
Thank
can
you,
go into
Tom,
this
for
in more
indulging
detail.
me.
Thank you so
Brian.
much. Yeah.
And yeah, Supervisor Brown, we've heard about some of the work that you've done, and we're very impressed.
Yes. Thank you. And so, yes, the goals for Vallejo, it's sort of touched on just a moment ago. There's something that's a broader sort of umbrella for all this called a tobacco retail license. Doesn't say that here, but that's sort of how it all gets tied together. When we're talking about not just the price issue, which we've been talking about, but also the flavors, making and the enforcement piece, and some other pieces which aren't on here, but are also impactful, like not allowing tobacco products to be sold in pharmacies, like making sure that the number of stores is kept low by population. A lot of different things we can talk about here specifically, but the broad picture here could be really, really effective.
Great. And as we wrap up today, we just wanted to talk to you about our CATs. So our community advocate team, or our CATs, is a team of LGBTQ advocates and allies who will basically work closely with the 3 of us and other CAT members on queer health and tobacco policy education work in Vallejo. So we'll meet 6 times a year, once every couple of months, to learn more about tobacco policy, sharpen our advocacy skills, and just participate in local project activities. So if any of you are interested in joining, passionate about this stuff, or want to learn more, or have names that come to mind of folks who would be interested, you can always contact me at genesis@lgbtq-tobacco.org, and I will drop my email in the chat shortly as well. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, almost.
We're very close. Or if cats aren't your thing, okay, we have a dog. Other ways to get involved as well. You can help us by signing an endorsement form, or writing a letter of support for our educational campaign presentations like these, connecting us with other queer community groups in Vallejo. For example, we know we had a great discussion with Solano Pride Center Senior Group, thanks to Jonathan and Adrian's coordinating, and we'd love to be connected with other queer groups serving Vallejo. You can also help us with outreach to elected officials, some of which we know are on this call, or any other ideas you might have for collaboration. And our last slide, finally, we just have a quick presentation evaluation survey that we would really appreciate you completing for us, just giving us feedback to improve on this presentation. And we also have a link for the endorsement form that I just mentioned for our educational campaign. And I'll drop both of those links as well as my email in the chat. But that's it for our slides.
Great. Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be great. Then everyone on here, we can take a quick beat and go and complete that for them. And this is really a great presentation. Like I said, if you could send it to us or send us a link to where we can get it online. You probably want to keep us on your website or whatever, that's fine. So that we can just share this and socialize it. Because like I said, here you've got a supervisor, plus we have another supervisor that is in our club as well, and we can make sure we share it there. But Monica is your best bet for being a champion. And then we like John Fox, who is Vallejo Unified School District. He's recently past president of the school board. And then we have Quentin Boyce, who is at the community college, and Jeanette Wiley, who is a city council member in Vacaville. I did put a question in the chat regarding everything's focused on Vallejo. Do you have for the rest of the county? Because we're actually a county-wide club. And so we have members from all over. And I'd like to make sure that, you know, if you have anything related to that, because that where you showed the lower income or the disparity, not the disparity, but the matching of tobacco shops to the census tracts that were lower income, that I would like to, I wonder if that is possible to see in other cities, because you've got Fairfield and Vacaville and Dixon, Rio Vista, and
Sure, definitely. Yeah, off the top of my head, I know we can send over any stake data that we have because we did get that for the whole county, right, Brian?
Yeah.
But then in terms of the sort of geographic trends, I've seen or made similar maps for larger cities around the Bay Area, so San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose. I would also be curious, and I can try and put this together. And then as far as the school district data, that's also something that we can probably find online through the state.
Yeah,
because we can also, through Solano Pride, who I sit on the board of, and Jonathan was on this call, I don't know where he's at. But we can share this through our Welcoming Schools initiative to the rest of the county as well. And I think that if they see the data that you have here for Vallejo Unified, they're going to probably see some of the same trends in Fairfield and other areas. And we actually have a school board member for Fairfield Sassoon Unified in our club as well. But I think she's at a board meeting tonight. So that would be something good to share and socialize there. Actually, we have someone from Travis and Vacaville, school board members that are in our club. So we can actually help you connect that way. And they're all advocates, so it'd be really good to get that out there.
Yeah, whatever you can do to help us connect, and anybody on this call who would love to meet with you, certainly with the Vallejo school board, and with folks connecting with Vallejo, that as our primary focus. But we are part of the County Tobacco Control Coalition, so we are supportive of other efforts that are being done countywide, and happy to talk with anyone about ways that we can help make things happen. So please do, everybody, please do take our survey, and if you give us your contact information, we'll be in touch. Genesis in particular will probably be the one to reach out to you, and we'd love to give presentation to the Pride Center, to everybody who will have us, so that we can start to move this work forward and get people to understand how important it is that this work get done.
Okay, so Genesis, let's talk, because we have a Friday cocktail hour where we have about 10-15 people, depending, that show up from across the county. So might be a good thing to have you guys come and give an abbreviated one. I'm not sure people would sit through a 30-minute presentation on a cocktail hour, because we're usually trying to gossip and catch up on all the stuff about everyone else.
Yeah, we know if people are drinking, they probably don't want to have a half-hour presentation. We understand.
Yeah, but it might be good to have you guys give some information. Anyway, yeah. So if those of you on the call, if you could take their survey,
Please.
And I'll send out the links as well to Genesis. Can you email me those?
Yeah, Tom, I'll send over all the materials. Yep.
Yeah, and then we'll put them out in a note to the rest of the membership after this meeting.
And the question was about, the second link on this page is for endorsing our educational campaign? Do you think there's a process that your club could follow to possibly give us an official endorsement, maybe a letter of support?
We can definitely do a letter of support, and we can do an letter of support is probably endorse candidates, but we can do letters of support for projects like this. So we'll take it up in our business section. It will be next meeting because it's not on our agenda tonight, but we can definitely do that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see a problem. I don't think we'll have a problem doing that at all.
Fantastic.
Do we have time for more questions? I see we didn't get to a question from Joseph.
There is a question here. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian, do you want to take it?
Yeah, it's from Joseph. Says, what is raising the price without taxing? Taxing ideally would create funds for anti-tobacco education. Well, yeah, we just did have a big statewide tax raise back in 2016, which has definitely helped raise funds for projects like ours, for example. It's hard for local districts, for local cities and counties to pass taxes. And in some cases, depending on what kind of city they run, it can be illegal to do so. And so what this does, though, is it has the impact of reducing, usage. And so that's really the key here, just raising that price up.
You just require the retailers to increase their base prices and to avoid the coupons. Is that what I'm understanding?
Minimum floor price, it's called technically. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then not accepting not redeeming the coupons. Yeah. The Surgeon General has actually recommended $10 as a pack of cigarettes price as a pack of cigarettes, and measured the impact that would have in terms of reduced use nationwide. So, kind of aiming at that number.
So, a little background: I've been activist against the tobacco industry, especially when I lived in New York since the early '90s, and I got accused of being an abolitionist, or what do they call it when, with the alcohol. So it's like they accuse me of, you completely abolish it, that it's going to go in the black market, blah, blah, blah. No, I say tax and regulate the fuck out of it. And that will help our society.
For sure. Thanks for the question.
Through the chair, Monica, a quick question.
It's fine with me. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So, Brian, who funds you right now? Are you funded through First Five because they're the ones with Prop 10?
No.
Okay, so
no,
who funds you?
We're funded by the tax actually that passed in 2016, Prop 52, which is 56. Thank you. Which is the state. It's the Department of Public Health's tobacco control program.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I have one more question. This was targeted for adults. Is there like a version of this that's targeted to kids themselves? I mean, for kids to understand. I guess it's pretty understandable to most levels. But I run a GSA at my school, and there's several GSAs that we collaborate with, and so I don't know if there's literature or presentations that are targeted for the students themselves.
Yeah, no, we have a GSA version of this presentation.
Yeah, and in fact, we are happy to give and want to give presentations to GSAs, especially in Vallejo, but we can do them in other communities as well.
And so you can also reach out to the Pride Center, because we have a Welcoming Schools initiative where we are going into all the different schools to help with GSAs, as well as just to help coordinate throughout the county. It might be a good way to reach out through them. So you already have Jonathan's info. So through the Pride Center, because he is our executive director, and he can put you in contact with Jamie, who is the youth program lead.
And through the chair, Monica,
Go ahead.
and Armio has a Gay Straight Alliance also, which I'm sure Jonathan knows. So getting into the high schools or things like that, there's enough educators around here that we can chime in. But Brian, I'll contact you guys after I touch base and see what they did in YOLO to see how we can bring that forward through Solano County.
Yeah, yellow's a little complicated in terms of how they do their enforcement. It involves both the DA, the county health
Environmental
department
health
staff, and environmental health. So we can give you the details on that if you like. You know, you might save you a lot of time if you just talk with us about it.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, thanks so much. So we will
Thank
get
you.
started with our regular meeting. Thank you guys for giving us this detail. We will definitely take it forward to our community and share it like it's a coupon for cigarettes. Sorry. But yeah, so this will be great. And so thank you, Genesis, for being persistent. You ought to give him some extra money. But yeah,
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So if you guys want to stay on, you're more than welcome to. But we've got a short agenda tonight, and then we just have to take care of a few things. Okay. All right. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna do a sign in. Everyone that is here. Where is my mouse? There it is. If you guys could sign in. Jeanette,
did that wrong. Can I get it reset?
No. If I reset for you, I have to reset for everyone.
So you started to say something. I don't think I've paid. I don't know. Have I?
No, but you're still a member. I mean,
Okay.
you just your status is something.
Okay, thanks.
And Matthew, just put in the chat that you made a mistake. Because like I can't vote because I started the poll, but we'll be good. Okay, is everyone signed in? All right. I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Good, that's good. Yep. Okay. Next up, I'm gonna share the agenda. Did everyone have a chance to look at the agenda? Not hearing anything. I'm gonna assume that you have. Oh, I hate it when it does that. Okay. So we'll call to order. It is 7:48. We have a quorum. Pledge of Allegiance. We'll move past that for right now. Acknowledge candidates. So we've got Monica. Yay, Monica. And we've got the next countywide office is Quentin. And then we have John Fox, Jeanette Wiley. And who else am I missing here? And then we've got Russell Kayang, who is participatory budgeting here in Vallejo. So thank you all for being here. All right, good deal. And then we have for ADMs, we've got Susan George, myself, and I think that's it for ADMs, right? Oh no, Russ Powell. What am I saying? Russ Powell is also ADMs. Yeah. So that's good. Okay, I got speakers where I did that. So approval of the agenda. So if you guys could take a look at the agenda, so it's fairly short. We're going to do a vote on that. So if it would be just members only. Okay. All right, so it passed. That's good. Let me share results real quick. Okay, so we got yay, 1 abstention. All right, let's see, minutes. I did not update that, and I see Jonathan is not here with us, and I didn't get a copy of them, so we'll have to get him to give us the minutes from the last meeting for next time, and we'll send those out. We'll move ahead to ADEM elections recap. So Susan, could I call on you to speak to that, because you did a wonderful job of marshaling us all and getting us all moving along.
You want me to speak to
just the results
just,
and how great it was that we got a lot of Solano County representation for AD14.
Yes, AD14. We actually got record representation from a Solano County Benicia Vallejo slate, and 6 of our 10 candidates prevailed, which again is a record. I think the most we've gotten in the past has been 3. So that's a big step for us. We worked very hard, and we didn't order ballots without asking people. That's another subject. So thank you, Stonewall, for your support. Thank you for all your endorsement. Thank you, so many people here that supported us. We are sending out thank yous. We wanted to wait to get our list together, so everyone will be receiving official thank yous, and the work is just getting started. So we look forward to representing you.
And just to follow up on that, in Solano, so there were 6 of us that were on a slate for Solano County. That's Susan and I and Rascal and Matthew and other folks on this call were on, and we got elected. But there were 2. Was there just 2 other people on the other slate that was elected?
On the other slate. Go ahead.
From Solano.
Yeah, from Solano, that I don't have all the information on that. And of course, Brenda won too.
Oh yeah. So, but there was 6 people from our slate plus 2 from the other slate that were from Solano. So for AD14, Solano County now represents the majority of AD14, and which is good because we actually have the majority of the electorate in AD14. So that's a good thing. The other part that's, I think, very interesting is that we have, is it 5? 5, yeah, 5 LGBTQ members in AD14 that were elected. And it is LGBT. And there may be a Q in there too, but it's just mostly LGBT that were elected, and they're all from Solano County. So we've come a long way from being a county that voted for Prop 8 back in the day to now the majority of one particular assembly district is has got 5 people from the county that are LGBTQ representing it to the Democratic Party. Up in further in the North County, you have Jonathan Cook, who won election, who is, of course, he's our secretary as well as the executive director for the Pride Center. And then Jerry Castagnon in District 4 won his seat, and he is a advocate for he's a friend to an ally to me as well as to the community. So that's a good thing. So we've got good representation, and the others that were not on our slate but were elected, we're pretty sure they're okay with LGBTQ folks too. So so it's a good thing. And so I see I have a hand up from Monica. You're muted, Monica.
That was a clap. My bad. You were saying something about Jerry. I meant to press clap.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And so that's, I think, just from a number standpoint, things are looking up for AD14. Okay. All right. So thank you for that. So we didn't do reports, John, but I think most of your report is to do with education updates. So it's up to you now. We're on to new business and education updates for Solano County. And this is to do with you got a lot of stuff. I'll shut up now.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Last meeting, I was talking about the governor's for the money for students and how if you didn't open at a certain date, the money went down 25%, and how I thought that was so I was very angered by that because we couldn't do the dates that he wanted, but they're redoing, his whole plan is being redone now. But what I want to talk about tonight is some new frustration that I just can't tell you, the dirty politics and the frustration with Solano County. I'm between the pains in my neck and my headache this last week. Monica knows it is so disgraceful, beyond disgraceful, to illegal. Anyways, so a recap for what's happening. We're trying to get our schools open here in Vallejo, just like all the Solano County schools are. We all are working to negotiate and find ways to get back in school. We're all in the purple tier, which is the highest tier right now. It looks like from numbers that Monica and I heard today, that maybe, I think he said mid-March to late March, perhaps will be in the red. The part that I'm extremely frustrated with. So folks, you watch the news. You saw that Sonoma County started vaccinating their teachers last week. Berkeley started, Napa started, Calistoga, Marin, Oakland, I think even, the Coliseum has a great thing. I just heard from me, Contra Costa started. I got the email today where I work. So all over the Bay Area and California, they're starting to do tier 1B, vaccinating educators and staff. Well, that doesn't fit for Solano County. And this is where my frustration lies. And I feel borders illegal. So with Solano County, no tier B for teachers yet. Our health director, let's see if I can say his name right, Bea Montiash, Dr. Montiash.
Just call
Bella.
him Dr. Bella.
Yeah. He is playing games with each of the Solano County school districts. He is making us pit against each other. He wants a firm date from each of us. He wants all our plans done, which includes all our negotiations, which we're all really close. But we can't give an arbitrary date when we have no idea the color tiers, and we're all fearful of the strains coming from Europe that we've heard that may make the numbers even higher. So it's hard to come up with an arbitrary date and said, oh yeah, we'll come back Monday, March 29th. As you all know, we're not in charge. COVID is in charge. COVID decides when you do anything. We can plan up the yin yang the most we can and be ready, but COVID has the last say, not us. So Dr. Montiash, our county health director, is telling us all these regulations, but guess what? All those counties I just told you that started the last few weeks or the last month, they didn't have all these regulations that Solano County has. Yes, we all do have a little bit of variance with uniqueness to different counties, but give me a break. Solano County doesn't be that unique that we're different from all the surrounding counties that are vaccinating teachers with no stipulation or regulations. So I'm just, Monica, thank you. I spoke today. I've been having meetings I'm advocating so hard just to figure out what is going on here. Why is Solano County being so difficult, the health director, Dr. Matiash, and not just saying, oh, all teachers 1B, you're ready to go. No, it doesn't work that way. That can't be that easy here in Solano County, can it? But then, friends, we have another problem with equity. Let me say it again, equity. So in Vallejo, with equity, when we have so many at-risk students, and it's obvious we all want to get back to in-person learning. But I asked Monica and other counties, who's had the most deaths? Who's had the most suffering during COVID? Which city in Solano County? I was kind of surprised to hear Dixon, but then I was also told Vallejo. So our families are been suffering the most, and now we might get, screwed the most with not getting the vaccine. And guess who's going to look to be the bad guys? The teachers will look to be the bad guys, and Vallejo will look to have a bad reputation. Why aren't you educating our kids? Well, it's because the county's playing games with us. That's why. So I am frustrated beyond belief. I honestly don't know what to do. I'm actually suggesting lawsuits against the county director because I feel he has broken, he's out of his lane as I talk to my superintendent. I have my lane, he's in his lane, he's definitely out of his lane. He has his own agenda. He's trying to push things that are not appropriate. And I feel like I'm missing some, but this has been so overwhelming the last few weeks. And when you're trying to fight something so big and someone's changing the rules and you just want to get people vaccinated, it's beyond frustrating. Monica, what did I forget, or anything you want to add?
If I may, through the chair, to comment. So one of the things so we did a team tag thing. So John spoke, Anna Patero from Fairfield Sassoon, and Sherry from Benicia spoke, had all the questions, but we finally, with the three of them persisting, and Jeanette, it sounds like you were on, I can't tell because how it's all laid out to know actually it's all there. We finally got him to admit that the reason he wants the teachers to commit is that in other school districts, teachers have said, well, we'll go back to work. That moved him up to get the shots, and then they didn't go back to work. And that's not what he wants happening in Solano County. So I emailed him 3 or 4 minutes after the meeting ended today, and I want the name of all of those school districts. I want to know what were the rationales that those teachers gave who wanted to get the shot and chose not to go back. And I want to know what the percentage of teachers in those districts have received the shots. So I'll wait till Monday. And then once I get all of that information or not, I will get a hold of Toby, who's the president of CTA, and let's bring in some lawyers from CTA, because this is effing BS. I know we're on TV, so I'm not going to say how I feel, but because of not only the 3 people I mentioned, but you had Kelly from Vacaville, you had another person, I don't know his name, from Vacaville. Jeanette, you might know. And then
Michael Kitzer spoke.
And with all of that pressure, he finally told us why. And then what he brought in is it's the union problem. Oh, you want a union problem? I can give you a union problem. But anyway, I just wanted to say that, John, because really, I truly believe that everybody putting the pressure, we finally got the reason. And I don't know who's putting that in his head, but we do have anti-union people on the board, so who knows? Because if you can get the schools open, that means, quote, everybody can go back to work, ergo, there's more to it, but yeah. So anyway, you did a great job. It all worked out great.
Thank you, Monica. I want to say a few, Tom, just a moment. I wanted to, we need CTA to get involved and challenge him, because I think the more powers that be that can challenge him, that you have no right to change the vaccine distribution in Solano. So if you can put any pressure, Monica, or anyone else that can put pressure, maybe Jeanette has resources too, we need to get the CTA resource. Our union presidents throughout Solano County met with him last week, and they were so just, they came out like, oh my goodness, who is this guy? And they were so frustrated as well. I was on the phone with ours in Vallejo, and he couldn't believe. So even as we're trying to negotiate with all of our unions, and we're getting so close with each district, our unions know firsthand, because they met with Dr. Mashiach last week. So they heard firsthand that he's putting all these restrictions. I'm not giving vaccines until you do this, this, and this in your district. So he's trying to negotiate with each district when that's not his job to negotiate or bargain. We as a district negotiate and bargain. That's our job to do with our staff. It's not his job. Again, he's out of his lane. The other word that he used today, I was very, as I was told, I was very diplomatic. I tried to be very polite and doctor, and please help me clarify and understand. I tried to frame it so polite, but he still was very upset with me on 2 regards. And one of the things he said, I wrote down, I'm not going to let teachers take me hostage to give vaccines and then not go back to school. He actually said the word hostage. Actually, we, the teachers in Solano County, we feel we're being held hostage because he's putting extra rules on Solano County that the other counties in the Bay Area don't have. But I thought it was ironic he used the word hostage. And I'm so glad Supervisor Brown was going to ask, what districts did this? Since the vaccine hasn't been given in Solano County, who reneged or changed their plans when we can't even get the vaccines yet? So thank you, Supervisor Brown. Tom, you wanted to ask a question?
No, I was just making a quip about the fact that maybe he's watching some other network that is promoting false narratives, like the fact that it was renewable energy in Texas that led to grid collapse. So, you know, but yes, I think that we definitely, what do we need to do, John, for this? I mean,
My biggest fear is, Tom and Monica and everyone on this call, what my biggest fear is that he's going to get dates and he's going to go with certain groups and other groups won't get it. And then we're going to look so bad to the community because it's going to come back to look like we weren't working with him, and they won't know the truth up front. He wasn't working with us. So whatever districts in Solano County that are going to be in the back or the rear because they're not part of his game are calling him on his BS, then we're afraid that we're going to look bad locally when it wasn't us. So that's my biggest fear, that what might happen. So to be able to get out the word that he's playing these games with us, that's why I asked you yesterday, Tom, when's the next Central Committee meeting? Because I think everyone on that committee needs to know what's going on as well.
Yes, next week. So
a follow-up, Tom, did I hear my name? I'm sorry.
No, I just said I saw your hand, but I wanted to ask.
I just wanted to follow up because this is one of the things that Dr. Bella said. There are schools already opened. Now we know what schools he's talking about, the private schools and the charter schools. They deserve to get their vaccines because they're opened. Again, pitting us against the people who are anti-public school. So we cannot forget that also. And again, through the chair, Jeanette might remember something, but it went fast and we got information out of him, and I think it bugged him, which I loved. And so I'll see. Keep you guys in the loop of what I get back from him. But CTA is going to have to get involved. And what I might just do is just get a hold of Toby this weekend and just say this is what's going down, and we might need to have a CTA staffer come. I don't know everybody anymore because Steve Savage retired. So because is this also going on in the other 58 counties? And it sounds like no, at least for us in the Northern Bay. But just FYI, John, all of the presidents of all the teachers association, not Rio Vista because they're not Solano County-ish in terms of their school district, have all met with Lizette and have all met with Vela. So there isn't anybody opening early that I am aware of that is a K through 12 public. So just FYI on that.
Monica, can you think of something to answer Tom's question? Tom asked, what can this club or just getting the word out amongst people, do you have any ideas how we can get support? Or
well, right now, let me see what happens this weekend. We are vaccinating people Saturday, Sunday, and it depends upon if we get the vaccines that we've been promised. So let's wait about a week. I really think all the vaccines that can't go to Texas because after all, they don't care about their people should come to us. It's just FYI. Okay.
Anyway, moving on from that. I agree with you, Monica, but I'll never say that. So the other thing is, so Quentin, for the community college, what is happening at that level? And John has I know there's what is it where it's all the boards of the different educational institutions?
the Solano County County Board, and I'm on that board as well.
Yeah, so have they brought this up? Because I mean, that's where you have the choir. And then what about the Solano Board of Education? Where are they in this?
Lizette is very, she has to be very careful and neutral because she has to work with all these people.
Lizette is on the board, okay.
Remember, they voted 5-2 for elite.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking of maybe having an emergency meeting of the Solano County Board Association, but then with all the facts, I think we first need what, like Monica said, let's get CTA involved. Let's see what the local districts and how they're challenging him. And I think in the next few days, and like Monica said, also has how the vaccines come in, because maybe he'll be pulled to the carpet and challenged enough. I know that I've asked my superintendent to look into legal, and he has. And he's gonna, I think, draft a letter asking for certain information,
Mhm.
what the requirements. I think that's going to start things happening as well.
Okay, so, and Quentin?
Yeah, I'll just say, the community college is kind of a different ballgame than K-12. We're not quite under the same pressure to open up for, daycare. I mean, our daycare is open, but I mean, not open up for, so parents can go back to work is not really the priority concern of community college. So there's no press or a plan to open up before the end of the semester. We're gonna finish out this semester in virtual learning, and we are open for lots of different specialized programs that have lots of different that have very, very rigid protocols. So those have stayed open, like our nursing program and our CTE programs have stayed open with very rigid protocols. But we're dealing with it's a different ballgame. We're dealing with adults in
Okay.
not.
Yeah, I was just wondering because you're an education institution and you have teachers and whatnot, and same concept. Okay,
Tom,
so
can we ask
go ahead.
Could we ask Jeanette her views? She was in the meeting with Monica, just what her views are on this. She's in the up county, Vacaville.
Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, somehow I lost my picture, so I tried to unmute myself. So you nailed it exactly the way I heard it, because you were talking about what your school did, and he just flat out said he wasn't going to give people the vaccine and then say, oh well, I'm not going to start back to school. And he very clearly said it didn't matter what the tier was. You couldn't have a stipulation about what tier you were in. You just had to agree to open as soon as everyone got the vaccine. So.
Thank you.
Okay. So, so the Central Committee meeting, if you want to come and make a public comment, John, or actually, no, he's an alternate, right, Jeanette? Because
Yes.
I think he's Jackie Arnold's
Yes.
alternate, John Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can come and speak.
If Monica's going to say it or Jeanette, I don't want to repeat. But if not, I don't mind. On the 24th? Oh, I have a school board meeting on the 24th. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind.
But Monica and Jeanette, please make sure to convey.
We can maybe team tag something, Jeanette, over the weekend and get it spoken to.
Thank you.
Okay.
If that's okay with you, Jeanette.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think just getting it known and about this, that would be a good idea, because I'm sure there's a lot of people on the Central Committee that have no idea.
But just my last comment, Tom, we're going through so much in this pandemic, and we're doing so much just to try to get food out or technology or just see how our families are doing with living accommodations. We are doing so much just to swim, to stay above water. It's just so discouraging, these dirty politics, that you have to fight for something basic that's already set, that's supposed to happen. And I just can't tell you that are all listening, the frustration we all have dealing with this. It's like putting a brick wall in front of where there's supposed to be an easy, fast pathway. And so it's just, we're all up to doing enough that this has to happen.
Yeah, and I hear you. And I think we all know that the Solano County Health Department has they've been less than responsive to this pandemic as far as like making sure that our citizens are safe as other counties that are right bordering us. It seems that they don't quite get that there's a problem there. Anyway, okay, so if there's nothing else on that, John, we're good. Okay. All right, so organizing for citizen oversight of Vallejo PD. So we were going to have another meeting this month for the families, but I think they had their thing up in Sacramento. So we will be having that. As most of you know, Brenda suffered a stroke late last month, early this month. Sort of the time was sort of blurred, and so she was the ringleader of that, and so we are waiting to just see where she's at. So Monica, do you have your hand up?
It was to follow up right before you started on this, if I
Oh,
may.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
No.
So once a month, Jonna gets together because she's the representative for Tim Grayson. Alex went. I always have to give the story. I asked her to ask Tim Grayson because he was the guest speaker today. I love it, a guest speaker at his own thing. That I did not believe Solano County was being treated fairly and equitably when it comes to vaccine distribution. He said that if we knew of any instance where that was happening, to let him know. And I will get that word out to everybody, but just something for you guys to think about, because I don't believe that we're being treated fairly. For example, in the other counties, CVS and Rite Aid, is it Rite Aid? Walgreens. CVS and Walgreens tells the county how many vaccines they're getting, but not in Solano County. Why? That makes no sense. So I'm going to be working on that from that end, because I don't believe we're being treated fairly. I just don't.
Is it that we're not being treated fairly, or that our health department is not being cognizant of what they need to do?
Well, that you're right. It's yeah. So you're right.
Yeah. All right. Well, so regarding the citizen oversight, so we will be getting that pulled together for another meeting for next month. As I was saying, Brenda had a stroke. She is doing well. As can be. She is getting back to walking, and they're working with her on all the different stuff. I wish Paula was here; she could give us the latest update. But so we will be following up with that, and we're working on language and stuff for the code that will be coming out. That we'll be pushing for that with the different groups that were on that first meeting. The California Democratic Chair Forum had a little hiccup. It seems that Rusty is trying to not be part of it, but I'm like, if he wants to do that, that's fine. I'm gonna call him directly because I have his number and find out what the deal is, because I'm going through his minions, and that just seems a little like there's some communication issues there. But we do have the Delane, and then we also have 3 of the vice chairs that are running that have committed to come to that and speak to the ADEMs as well as the Democrats in Region 2. And we have more clubs signing on to be part of that. So it's coming together for that. So we should have everything pulled together for that as soon as I get this issue worked out with Rusty. And that's pretty much an update on that. There's really nothing to vote on at this meeting that I know of. We will have the letter of support for the LGBTQ minus tobacco project for next meeting. Do we have anything else for future agendas?
Yes. May I speak, Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So I apologize for not making some of these. Part of it is that it went to the wrong portion of my email, and my son, the millennial, had to help me. So I apologize. You guys know this is okay. Anyway, I really think we need to talk about, and I know I brought it up with the Jewish, I want to say caucus. Sorry, Susan and Matt, the Jewish Democratic and anyway, United Dems and et cetera, that we should think of setting up a fund. And I know the Northern Dems do it in terms of asking everybody maybe to contribute $5 or $10 extra a month so that we have a campaign fund.
Mm-hmm.
And so it might be something to think about maybe for a future discussion as to why that might be a good idea or not, depending upon the will of the people.
Okay, so is this you mean for each club to do, or for?
No, I thought you asked for future agenda items.
Oh, okay.
Did I not hear you right?
No, you did, but I'm just asking though, is that for each club to do their own campaign fund?
Well, yes. So I mean, I could talk about it now, or if just agendize it, I'll bring it up in March.
Yeah,
but
I'm just trying to get the wording correct for the agenda.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it would just be the Stonewall Democratic Club and their own campaign fund money, so that like, for example, with the ADEMS, that we would have money set aside for the ADEMS in a couple years. We would have money for the 2022 election. So because a lot of us are engaged in a lot of other campaigns, and if we set aside a little bit every month, Bernie Sanders told us how we could do that, then we would have a funding source. The Northern Dems had like $10,000. So, and you can only go to the well so long, but you can go to the well periodically. Anyway, so that would be my suggestion for the next one, please.
Okay, sure thing. Thank you so much for that. Anyone else? Mr. Hayden, anything? Okay.
No, thank you for asking.
Mr. Voice? Okay. All right, with that, any items from the floor? Yes, Jeanette.
I just want to say thanks for having the guest speakers tonight. I thought it was an excellent program. As the mother of a smoker, it's awful because he started, right at, 18, and it's just so hard. And I do feel like these companies need to be held accountable, and we need to let people know. So thank you for the presentation.
Yeah. And I really do think that that one slide speaks to not just the LGBTQ community, but the Democratic community. And because it was in the San Francisco convention that they had, Juul was a major sponsor of the Democratic convention. I mean, what the hell is up with that? That's just awful. So yes, Brian.
It also speaks to the African American community as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting a lot of buy-in, unfortunately, from some African American leaders. It's on the big tobacco side, challenging in a lot of ways and for a lot of different communities. Yeah, thank you so much for having us. Would it be appropriate for one of us to return next month for the vote, just to monitor that?
Yeah, we're the third Thursday of each month. The next one is going to be March 18th at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And it's the same login stuff.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for coming, and again, Genesis, thank you for being persistent. Okay. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Do we have a guest speaker for next month?
No, we don't. Not yet, but we're gonna find one, right, John?
Yes.
Because your outreach. So we'll have one for next month too. Don't know that it'll be quite this caliber where we got the tag team approach from the LGBTQ tobacco thing, which was great. Y'all did a excellent job at presenting. Thank you so much. All right, with that, do we have a motion to adjourn? All right, great.
So moved.
Okay, second. Anyone?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, put thumbs up. There we go. The thumbs have it. All right, y'all have a great evening.
Bye, everybody.
For showing up, and be safe, okay? That new variant is very contagious and very, very bad.
Do not be that last one on the ventilator.
Yes.
That is my fear.